You're tuned into Radio Malaysia Traxx FM's Traxx Momentum. Right now, calling you with you, keeping company the second hour of the program. And today, I am joined by my special guest over the phone, who is Professor Ngai Weng of Water Watch Penang, and he's the president himself. And first, let me get him online. And welcome to Traxx Momentum, actually, for this morning. Professor, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, how are you this morning?
Hi, very good. Good morning.
Okay, and you are the president of what is known as Water Watch up north in Penang.
Yes.
Okay, and tell us a bit about Water Watch. I mean, it sounds like a very interesting function and job that you do. Tell us a bit more about the organization, Professor.
Okay. Water Watch Penang, actually in short WWP, is a non-profit organization set up in November 1997 as part of the Sustainable Penang Initiative, was started by the state government. And subsequently, we registered under the Registrar of Societies in 1998. Our main aim is actually to create awareness for water conservation amongst the general public. We do education with the school children as well as the public on issues related to water. We also run research on water issues. We give tips and advice on water saving. We also can do consultancy on water recycling and education in the schools. We work closely with all levels of governments, federal, state, as well as local government, the private sector, as well as other NGOs and local communities towards the sustainable development and management of our water resources.
Now, it's very interesting. I mean, we talk about the topic of water. One of my friends, actually, one of the contacts on Facebook, was just posting about the little irony about how, water has been on our psyche this past few months for many reasons.
Yes.
Especially for those areas affected under the water rationing and all that kind of thing. And then, ironically, it's also the water festival in Thailand at the moment, where water is used from, I think traditionally, it was from a very sort of religious and cultural aspect that they celebrate the festival, but now, of course, it's become like a bit of a fiesta and fun. So you talk about it's such a precious resource, yeah? And recently, of course, worldwide, we celebrated World Water Day 2014. I believe it was March the 22nd.
Yes.
Tell us a bit, before we continue on with Water Watch Penang, on the subject of water, the issue of water, and how Penangites actually celebrated World Water Day.
I would have to start by saying that, despite all this big hue and cry about global warming and climate change, water is actually the main issue of this century, because water is life. Without water, we have no life.
Exactly.
You see, Earth is the only blue planet. It's the only one that we know that has life so far. And if you think deeply, water touches every facet of our lives, from the water we drink, the food we eat, the clothes we wear, the computer we use, even the cars we drive, and the newspapers we read. All these things need water to produce.
Right.
So, Water Watch Penang, actually, we are a watchdog set up to look after all these water resources to ensure that they are protected and managed wisely. You say that celebrating World Water Day is a good thing. Actually, it's not so much of celebration. We are doing this mainly because we want to create greater awareness and education about water resources, especially in Malaysia and Penang. Because if you look at Malaysia, we are actually a country very rich in water resources.
Right.
We have about 3,000 millimeters of annual rains every year. Yeah. And the per capita water volume is to the tune of about 20,000 cubic meters per year. In comparison, you see the African and Middle Eastern countries, all of them are lying below the stress line. The stress line is actually about 1,000 cubic meter per capita per year.
Right.
Which means we are having 20 times the amount of water that someone like, say, in Saudi Arabia has. But despite such a lot of water resources, we can't say that we have no water problems. In fact, as we are speaking, people in Selangor and KL are having water rationing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So besides this, the main reason why we have this water rationing is our water resources are not evenly distributed over time and space, meaning some months we are dry, some months we are too wet, which brings about the flood. And also, certain states are water rich and certain states are water poor. The rich states will be Sabah, Sarawak, Perak, and the poorer states will be Penang, Perlis, and Malacca. So other than this sort of thing, we have many other problems, like we depend solely on rivers, which supply 97% of our pipe water, but we have polluted all the rivers. I think the newspapers ran a big story on the deplorable state of our rivers. Most of them are polluted to the extent that we can't use them. And we have deforested most of our water catchment. Water catchments, actually, they are not protected enough. We need to gazette them as water catchment. If you just gazette it as a forest reserve can be logged. And also, another big problem that we are facing now is we have a very high rate of non-revenue water, which is water loss from the distribution system due to leakage, theft, or faulty meters, and so on. Now, in Malaysia, we lose about 36.4% of the water from our distribution system in 2012. This is not acceptable because if you want to be a developed country, we should achieve a rate not more than 10%.
Okay. Professor, can I just interject with a quick question on this? Where's the data on the water loss from? And can you just walk us through a little bit on how this sort of data can be obtained?
Yes. This is actually provided by SPAN, which is the Suruhanjaya Perkhidmatan Air Negara government department in charge of water resources.
Right.
So I think they survey all these states and they get the records. For your information, Penang is the best. We have non-revenue water rate at 17.6% in 2012. But several states have NRW more than 50%. How can you produce 100 liters of water and lose 50? This is totally unacceptable. Interesting
facts and figures you're sharing with us. So the issue is actually distribution as well as, I would say, an efficiency as well on the distribution of the water itself due to the system leakage and things like that.
Yes, precisely.
Interesting facts, and thank you so much for sharing with us, Professor Chan, excuse me. I'm speaking to Professor Chan Ngai Weng, who is the president of Water Watch Penang, right here on Traxx Momentum. A little bit more before we go for our song break. Tell us a little bit more, Professor, and you've highlighted some important facts and figures to all of us to make us a bit more aware of these facts, because oftentimes we take water for granted. Turn on the tap, it's there.
Most people do, yes.
Yes, exactly. And it's not very expensive, but yet it is a truly precious commodity. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more, what are the other threats to Malaysia's water resources?
Okay, there are many threats to our water resources, but I would consider the following to be the main threats. Actually, the first one, like you have already mentioned, people are not really very aware and concerned about water, simply because it's so readily available. You just turn on the tap and it's there, and it's 24 hours it's there. If you go to countries like India, Philippines, or even our neighbor like Indonesia, some parts don't have water for 24 hours because the water pressure is very low.
Right.
So we are very lucky to have 24 hours. So the main problem, I think, public apathy. We need to educate people and make people more aware. They can't live without water, but at the same time, because water is so cheap, so one of the main reasons is I think our water tariffs are too low. Of course, this is because it's heavily subsidized by the government. Our rate actually for Malaysia is only about maybe 50 Malaysian cent per cubic meter. If you compare it to somewhere like Germany, it's about nearly $20 per cubic meter.
Right.
So, 30 cent to 50 cent per cubic meter, I'm paying a water bill of 5 ringgit per month for my whole house. So, if you are paying only 5 ringgit, how can you tell people to save water? They don't understand that saving water is, doing your part for the environment, saving the water for the future, and to avoid water rationing, like what's happening now, to avoid water crisis in the future. So low water tariffs, we need to change this to make sure that, it is at par with electricity or even petrol. I think if the average water bill for a house is about 100 ringgit, I think people will feel the pinch and they will do something to save water. But at the moment, 5 to 10 ringgit, they won't do anything.
Now, Would you say that, Professor, sorry to interject again, would you say that by possibly raising tariffs, we leave it a bit of a question mark as to what sort of tariffs, but let's say higher tariffs, that those additional incurred revenue can actually go towards the improvement of the system, improvement of the distribution system? Would you say that is something that makes a lot of sense to do?
Yes. I think if government were to implement this, they can always impose the regulation and, for the water service provider. For certain states are privatized. So I think for the tariff increase, they can always say that, okay, 20% of the tariff increase should be used, to improve the system.
Right.
The rest can go to profit. But I'm saying tariff increase not just across the board. For the first 20 cubic meters, we are saying that the tariff should stay the same because 20 cubic meters per family is the basic.
Right.
So this, the government should not touch. Above 20 cubic meters, they should increase sharply. So this is the way we should do it.
Right. Makes a lot of sense. Now we are talking about threats to our Malaysian water resources, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, continue on, Professor.
Yes, and the other problem, actually, we are polluting our main source of water, which is the rivers. 97% of our water supply actually come from rivers. We don't have much groundwater, and we don't go for desalination like what Singapore and, the Arabic countries are doing. It's very expensive, to do desalination. So we need to do something to safeguard and protect our rivers.
Right.
If we pollute them to the extent that they cannot be used, we will get less and less water. And eventually we may have to go the Singapore way, which is using recycled water. I don't think we want to do that.
Probably not, no.
Yes, obviously. Now, I think the other huge problem that I already mentioned is non-revenue water. The water service providers and all the states, they should do something to replace the pipe and to plug all the leaks. 50%, losing 50% of the water is just too much, and it's not acceptable.
Right.
We cannot call ourselves a developed country, if we are having this sort of rate. We should be, like Japan is 5%. Many countries, developed world, is only 10%. Our best service provider in Penang is only 17.6.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, good job on that.
Yeah.
Probably because you are there. Water Watch Penang is there.
Yeah, we are having our hands full, and we are trying our best, but we don't seem to get across to the people because of the low tariff. You tell them try to save water, and they will just look at you with the blank eyes. I mean, what is this guy trying to do? He's a professor, and he's trying to ask me to save water when my water bill is only 5 ringgit. Is it not so what?
Right, interesting facts. Okay.
They don't think beyond saving water. It's not for money.
I get you, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, interesting stuff. More with Professor Ngai Weng, who is the president of Water Watch Penang. Hang on for a while, Professor. We'll be back. Just taking a quick music break right now. More on this very important issue coming right up. In the meantime, here's a bit of Civil Wars right here on Traxx Momentum. Good morning. You're listening in right now to Traxx Momentum's interview of the day, speaking to Professor Ngai Weng, who is the president of the Water Watch of Penang, right, on a very important issue. First of all, thank you so much, Professor Chan, for your time.
You're welcome.
Okay, and it's good to have you on the show today. Now, earlier on, we were talking a little bit about your views and opinions as to water resources in Malaysia. And thanks for highlighting a whole bunch of facts and figures, which I think is very interesting and very important for all of us to know, Professor. And I understand that due to your presence actually in the state of Penang, quite a lot is being done actually to not just create awareness amongst the public on this, but also actual work doing in protection and restoration of water catchments and rivers. Tell us a little bit about your education awareness programs and so on and so forth, Professor.
Yeah, okay. Regarding this education and awareness program, we actually target the younger generation, mostly the school children, from primary to lower secondary.
Okay.
Because I think it's not that we want to marginalize the older ones or the adults, but we feel that, the younger ones are more receptive and, we can teach them, and they are more, easily influenced by our message. So what we do is actually we not just go to the school and give them talks. Yes, we give them, small talks and things like that. And then more importantly, we take them into the field, because I think our school system, they stay in the class for long periods, and it can be quite boring. So they are always, very happy to get out. So we'll bring them to a small river, a very shallow one, and we'll teach them about, the aquatic life that's in the river, how to monitor the quality of the water. We give them some instruments to measure like the pH, dissolved oxygen levels, and so on. And also make them catch some insects, aquatic insects. And we actually have charts to let them identify these insects. So they have a pretty good time, and they can actually classify the class of the river from class 1 to class 5 based on the insects they catch, you see.
Fun activities, essentially.
Yeah, it's very fun activities for them. And so they also do a cleanup of the rivers that, they visit. And towards the end, we will bring them to a water treatment plant and to teach them about, how the raw water from rivers is being abstracted and treated, filtered, and so on, all the various processes, to make them understand that, it's not so easy just to get water, you switch on the tap.
Right.
It's a long process, from the river to their homes.
Right. Great programs, it sounds like. Now, earlier on, you were saying that a lot of our rivers are unsuitable, actually, for processing for water in general. Tell us a bit about some restoration work for water catchment areas that Water Watch Penang is involved in.
Well, there are several things that we have done so far. I mean, for the state of Penang, I think we are perhaps one of the only states in the whole country that has gazetted all its remaining water catchment as water catchment, which means to say we have passed a law that gazettes all the remaining water catchment. Unfortunately for Penang, Penang is quite well developed. The remaining water catchment actually makes up less than 10% of the total area of Penang, which I think is not enough. If you want to protect your catchment, you should have at least 50% of your land area under water catchment, like what Singapore is doing now. Singapore is a small country, yet they managed to reserve all the rest of the water catchment and no more development. That's why they are doing all this reclamation.
What about, for example, other areas in Malaysia?
In terms of what?
In terms of water catchment, and it's Water Watch Penang. I mean, by virtue of the name, it sounds like your activities are focused only in. Oh no, actually,
the name is Water Watch Penang. The Registrar of Society, if you want to register in Penang, you need to call it Penang. Because if you want to call it Malaysia, you need to have your office bearers from 7 parts of the country, 7 states,
I see.
So it's very difficult to, have a national organization.
Well, tell us a bit about the work that you do in other states as well.
In other states, we have many programs. We have worked closely with Salcom Berhad in KL Selangor.
Okay.
We also run the river and water education campaign for Salcom, but with the schools in KL and Selangor. And we work closely with WWF Malaysia. We have done a study with them on the water resources of the country. We also work with Global Environmental Center and, of course, Mango, because we are part of Mango.
That's right.
And all the water resources and issues in Mango, actually, we look after it. So, but due to the lack of manpower, human resources in Water Watch Penang, we are fully non-profit organization. We don't pay anyone. So, so all our workers are volunteers. So it's very difficult, to get volunteers. So we can't move to other states. Actually, the issues in Selangor is very interesting. We can play our role, but due to the lack of resources, we are not moving there at the moment. But,
I see.
But suffice to say, I think we are well known in Malaysia. And for every other conference or workshop, anything to do with water, they always invite us to give our views. To sit on the panel and so on.
Understand, yeah. I'm speaking to Professor Ngai Weng, who is the president of Water Watch Penang, in case you're just joining us right now on Traxx Momentum, on the issue of course, what else? H2O water, okay? Let's talk a little bit about the other projects that you'd like to highlight to us here, Professor Chan. What other projects that Water Watch Penang is working on now?
It's very timely for you to ask me because this weekend, Saturday, 19 April, we are organizing the World Water Day at the state level for Penang.
Right.
Actually, the World Water Day is on 22nd March.
Of March, yes.
As decreed by the United Nations. But usually, we organize it a bit later, depending on the availability of the Chief Minister and the other EXCO and so on.
Sure.
And our sponsor, of course. So in this World Water Day, like I told you, we are trying to get across to the people of Penang. Since Penang is actually, we use the most water in the whole country because our tariffs are the cheapest. We try to reach the people, and we have lots of programs during World Water Day. We have water painting competition. We have water monitoring competition. We have also some artists coming to perform and things like that.
Right.
Basically, we make it like a family day.
Right.
So the parents can bring their kids, the whole family. The kids can take part in the water painting competition, water gassing competition. There'll be lots of games. Actually, I use a lot of volunteers to run lots of games to make it like a family day, so that people come there and they have fun.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sounds
and
fun.
of course, the politicians will be there, to give their message and so on.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. What else?
Okay.
What else are you working on right now?
Yeah. So other than this, that we do annually, we organize together with the PPA. We also have the Penang State Schools Water Education Program. This is actually a 30-year program organized jointly with the Penang Water Authority. We actually run school program in the schools, primary as well as secondary, educate the students and the teachers. The other interesting thing is we are not just educating the students, but we also run this called the training of trainers, whereby we get the target is the teachers. And we train the teachers about the importance of water catchment. We give them PowerPoint on how to present, to teach the kids on the importance of water, how to save water, how to monitor water, and also hands-on activities using instruments and the charts that I told you before to classify the river water quality. Then we also have a beach cleaning campaign in Port Dickson, of all places. Actually, this was funded by a Korean foundation.
Okay.
And one of our volunteers, who was a student with USM, she is now in KL working there, and she runs this program.
I see.
Beach cleaning, but basically, you might ask me, why is it related to water? It's because of the seas being polluted, so you have to, clean up the beach and things like that.
Right. So this is where your outreach is like we're talking about how it's way beyond Penang itself.
Yes.
Lots of in terms of the breadth, lots of important issues that you cover.
Yes. And of course also we write to the press, and then we give our views on various water issues, like what's happening in Selangor now, what's the problem. We do give press statements, and the other thing that we do is we have a Penang Inter-School Water Quiz, whereby we invite all the schools in Penang, secondary as well as primary. We have two sections if it's primary, one for primary, one for secondary, whereby the schools will send their kids, and then we will have a quiz. Actually, our target is to, invite maybe one of the TV stations to come and record it, but so far we have not been successful in inviting the TV station.
Maybe it's just a matter of time. But then good job and initiative actually on and creating awareness and educating our kids, the younger set, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, Professor Chan, we've got just a little bit more time on the interview. I did want to ask you from your opinion, because you are so knowledgeable in the issues that we face as Malaysians regarding water resources, whether it's conservation, protection as well, right? Tell us, give us a bit of a list, what can us, the public, do to contribute to water resources conservation and protection as well?
Okay, actually a lot of people, they come and tell me, I'm just one person, what I do is actually would not make a difference, but I beg to differ, because if everyone were to play their role and play their part, actually we can save a lot of water and we can do a lot. Well, people can start by looking at their own water usage and practice wise use of water at home as well as in the office. There are many measures that they can take, when, for instance, when you are washing the car, you should not use the hose, because, more often than not, we are very lazy to go and switch off the tap when we are soaping or shampooing the car, isn't it?
Right.
So we just let it run, So actually you should use 2 pails of water instead.
Good suggestion.
For washing the car. And for watering your plants, use the watering can rather than the hose. In fact, many countries like Australia, they have banned using of the hose during the dry season. Brushing our teeth, we can, switch off the tap when we are brushing, or use just a cup of water.
Right.
And also for the toilet flushing, if you have the money, you should switch to the dual flush system.
For sure.
One for urinating and one for defecating. But if you don't have the money to change the system, you don't want to change, you can always put a bottle of water, whether it's 1 liter or 2 liters, into the cistern. that will displace 1 or 2 liters from the system. So when you flush, instead of 9 liters, you'll be actually flushing 7 liters. Imagine 7 liters. Every time you flush, you're saving 2 liters of water.
Exactly.
We don't actually need to use 9 liters for every flush, especially when you're for urinating.
I tell you, Professor, it's good to speak to you because you have all these facts and figures right at your fingertips, And then people always like numbers because it's just a lot easier to accept and digest, especially over the airwaves, over radio, right? Now, interesting point as well on the washing cars because although I don't think it's going to be a problem from where I am because we are under rationing at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
We get dirty looks from neighbors if we use hose to wash car. Even washing car alone can, get dirty looks from neighbors. Okay, but besides that, what else on a more broader perspective? What do you think that we can do to contribute?
Okay, the public can also participate in water-saving campaigns. I think it's high time the country runs the water-saving campaigns. It's not just during water crisis we have water-saving campaigns. It should be, the regular thing, that comes on the TV during prime time. You have artists, teaching people how important water is, that they should save water and so on.
Right.
I can imagine if a very well-known artist will come on, and to teach people how to save water, it will go a long way. I mean, you and I go and talk is useless. People, identify with the artist and the well-known personality.
Well,
okay, people can also keep themselves informed about water issues. Not just looking at the stock exchange and so on. I think now they are looking at the water issues because they have water rationing in Selangor,
Right.
So they should follow important issues like this, environment and so on, and maybe even support NGOs such as Mangoes and Water Watch Penang and so on.
Right.
You don't want to be active, it's fine. You can just support in terms of putting in your money and so on. They will help us run more programs with the public. People should stop polluting rivers, and other water resources like lakes and so on.
For sure.
We should not just treat the rivers as raw sewage.
Right, or a dumping ground.
They should report acts of water pollution, water taps, water leakage, and so on to the authority. Because once you report it immediately and they take action faster, then we can plug the leak and then reduce a lot of wastage.
Right.
But actually, a lot of people, they don't report it because it's very troublesome to them, I think.
Are they able to report such incidences or what they observe to you?
Yes, in Penang, yes.
All right.
Actually, our experience is that people come to report to us and we report to the PBA.
I see.
Which is more effective because when I call them, I see this Prof Chan from Water Watch Penang, and they will take action immediately because I have access direct to the general manager.
Right.
So these workers are all very scared of Water Watch Penang.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor Chan. Last but not least, before you go, what is your, on behalf of Water Watch Penang's dream, a vision for the future of our water sustainability?
Okay, Water Watch Penang actually dares to dream that we can change the current Malaysian water wasting society. We have a water wasting society now. It will change and evolve into a water saving society in the near future. We will continue to work hard and educating the young and sensitizing them about the vital importance of water, and hopefully, maybe not in our generation, but in the next generation, we will see this water-saving society.
All right.
Thank
you so much, Professor Chan.
You're most welcome.
Okay, and for your time, and I know you're a busy man. Okay.
We are all busy.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, you take care, and I'll speak to you hopefully sometime soon, especially in real life. That would be nice.
Thank you very much.
In the meantime, take care, yeah?
Yes. Look for me when there's water. Also when there's no water.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
you have a nice day.
Yeah,
bye-bye.
You too. Yeah. Been speaking to the president of the Water Watch Penang, all about the issues related to water supply, restoration, conservation, and whatnot, right? And you're tuned in to Traxx Momentum right now. Kong Yu with you on the show. Stay tuned. Keep it locked right here on Traxx.